To understand how shoppers act, it's important to know how they make decisions and to reach them at the time when they are most likely to make a purchase. Heuristics is a key idea to understand when it comes to shopping psychology. A heuristic is a way to make choices and solve problems quickly. They help us make decisions faster and keep us from having to think about what to do next all the time. For example, we learn over time whether a website is reliable or not. Does it look well made and organized? Or does it have a lot of banner ads and pictures that are annoying? We save this information and use it the next time we go online to quickly decide if a website is reliable or not. Because we already know what to do, we won't have to think too hard the second time we have to make the same choice. In marketing study, one of the most important steps is to figure out what heuristics are and how they will affect your customers. It will affect your method in the end so that you can get the most useful information from your study. There are 4 types of biases that affect how shoppers act. Availability, the heuristic. This kind of mental trick is based on how easy it is to remember something. For example, if you want to buy laundry soap, you might choose Tide because it's the first thing that comes to mind. You might have chosen a different name if you knew more about it, but you went with the first one that came to mind. In other words, we often make decisions based on how easy it is to think of cases. How easy these cases are to find directly affects how many of them there are, so we tend to forget information that isn't as easy to remember, even if it is scientifically and obviously more important. The availability heuristic can be used in marketing by giving examples of how your product has helped other people. This makes it easier for potential buyers to imagine what would happen if they bought your product. By giving potential customers a taste of what they could experience with your product, you're not only exciting the consumer imagination, but also imprinting a positive association in their memory between your product and the subsequent attractive result they have the power to achieve. Researching what kind of results your customers really want from your product or service is important to understand how this heuristic can help your marketing research process by improving your overall marketing strategy. Representativeness heuristic. This kind of heuristic is a mental trick that involves comparing the current situation to a typical one. Marketers use representativeness to show us that things or products are like an idea or thought we might have. For instance, if we watch a lot of TV ads that show a tough man driving a pickup truck, we might think that pickup trucks are only for tough men who work outside. Doing marketing research to find out what people think about your business, service, or marketing materials is a great way to make sure your message gets across the way you meant it to. Anchoring heuristic. The anchoring heuristic is the effect that a previous opinion of an object has on how we judge another object in the future. These decisions could be based on a number, a chance, or even a moral standard. Marketers can get consumers to choose their brands by tying them down to their strategic reference points of value. For example, companies often start by putting out a higher priced or lower priced item based on how they want to influence a customer's next choice. If they start by showing a more expensive model, the cheaper model will look like a better deal. This is the kind of situation where marketing research on prices can be helpful. Creating a survey to find out how people feel about the prices of your products or services will help you understand what price to sell means for your business. Attribute substitution heuristic. When deciding what to buy, we often ask a simpler question instead of a more complicated one to make the choice easier and quicker. For example, when buying a new pair of running shoes, we might not ask about the technical details, pronation versus supination, crash zone, foot hit area, etc., but instead ask, which brand do I like best? How heuristics are used. Heuristics are important for both solving problems and making decisions because we often use them when we need a quick answer. Here are a few of the different ideas that scientists have about why we use heuristics. Attribute substitution is when people ask related but easier questions instead of more complicated and hard ones. Effort reduction. People use heuristics as a form of cognitive laziness to make making choices and decisions easier on their brains. Fast and frugal. People use heuristics because they can be fast and correct in certain contexts. Some ideas say that heuristics are more likely to be right than wrong. Difference between heuristics and algorithms. Heuristics and algorithms are two different terms in psychology, even though they are often used interchangeably. Instructions on how to put together a piece of furniture or a recipe for a certain dish are both examples of algorithms. Healthcare workers also come up with formulas or steps to follow to figure out what kind of treatment to give a patient. How heuristics can lead to bias. Heuristics can help us solve problems and make decisions more quickly, but they can also lead to mistakes. As in the above cases, heuristics can lead to wrong conclusions about how often something happens and how representative it may be. Just because something worked in the past doesn't mean it will work again, and relying on a heuristic can make it hard to see other answers or come up with new ideas. Heuristics can also lead to bias and the formation of stereotypes. Because people use mental shortcuts to label and group people, they often miss more important information and put people into categories based on stereotypes that don't match up with reality. How to make better decisions. Even though rules can be helpful, there are other ways to make better decisions and avoid cognitive bias at the same time. 1. Don't rush. If we are trying to make a decision fast or feel like we have to, we are more likely to make a mistake. Take a few deep breaths whenever you can. Do something to take your mind off the choice you have to make. When you go back to it, you might find a new way to look at it or see something you hadn't seen before. 2. Identify the goal. We tend to focus on what helps us and make choices that are in our best interest. But stop for a moment and think about what you want to do. Will this choice have an effect on anyone else? What will help them most? Is there a goal that could be reached that would be good for everyone? 3. Process your emotions. People often make quick decisions based on feelings from the past that come to the surface. Do you base your choice on facts or feelings? Even though emotions can be helpful, they can also lead to bad choices if they make it hard to see the whole picture. Recognize all or nothing thinking. When making a choice, people often think they have to choose a single, clear road and can't change their minds. Most of the time, this isn't true. Sometimes we can find a middle ground between two choices or a third or fourth option we hadn't even thought of at first. Instead of thinking all or nothing, try to see the differences and opportunities in each choice. By learning more about patterns, we can learn more about how shoppers act. Getting a good idea of how and why shoppers choose what to buy is an important part of your marketing study. It's just as important that you help them through the steps. Consider heuristics in your research and next marketing effort to improve your chances of convincing consumers and getting them to act.